What is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another live stream. Happy holidays. And my name is Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie. If it is your first time here, please be sure to introduce yourself to the Camera Junkie crew in the comments and in the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie welcome. And with that being said, this is episode number 106 of the Camera Junkie live stream. 106 consecutive weeks, 106 Saturdays in a row that we get this popping non-stop. And as always, I appreciate you for being here. And let's see who is here in chat right off bat. We have Sean. Let's see. Okay, that's coming up slow. I mean, coming up small, not slow. Listen to me. Let's fix that size. Let me see. Yeah, that looks a little better. Let's do that again. Yep, and he's saying hi to me. What's up? How are you doing, sir? Paul is saying what's up to the fam. Melanie is in here saying hi to everyone, saying happy Saturday night. Yes, it is Saturday night. Happy Saturday night to you as well. Sarkeezy is in the house saying hi to Paul. Once again, Sean saying hi to everyone. Says Sean is my first name for real. I love your screen name handle. You know, like my real name's made up because they all are, right? Somebody decided that is what I'm going to call this individual, that sound, right? But that's how all of our names are made up once in a while. And Robert's also in here saying what's up to the fam. Let's see if I can get him on screen. All right, cool. All right, well, you know the routine. For those of you who don't, I'm going to start recording a podcast sequence right now. I'm just going to give my thoughts and finish it off with C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W. And once I'm done with that, I will be checking back with you here in the chat. If you happen to have any questions during my soliloquy, please be sure to put a Q colon in front of any questions that you might have. That way it makes it a lot easier for me to actually find those questions and address them once I'm done with that and I get to the Q&A part of the live stream. So with that being said, today I'm going to be talking about the beta programs for a couple of things that I use all the time. One of them being the RØDECaster Pro 2 and basically my computer using Ecamm Live, which is what I'm using right now to broadcast the stream and do all the fancy things that you see me do here on my live streams. So with that being said, I'm going to take I'm going to get things started for the recording. And you know what? I have a little thing here to remind me to record a podcast intro before I start doing the podcast, because I haven't been able to do that, but also to bring you guys along with the journey so that you can hear where I mess up, so to speak, and what I do on the post-production to make the most of whatever I create. All right, let me clear my throat. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be doing the podcast intro. I'm going to just freestyle something there. And then I'm going to get into today's subject, the beta programs. All right, so let's get to it. With that, let's see. Do you love cameras? Oh, let me do that. Totally different. See, we're winging it. Do you love photography, videography, and the purpose, or not purpose? What's a good word that I could use there? So you're just building it on the fly, and you guys get to experience this with me. Welcome to the Camera Junkie Podcast. If you're interested in photography and videography and all things camera, then you're most likely a camera junkie. And I would invite you to click subscribe on this podcast, as I will be taking you with me on the journey on all things content creation using your camera for photography, video, podcasting, and so much more. Everything that has to do with content creation under one roof, the Camera Junkie Podcast. I'll see what I'll do with that. If not, I'll figure out to refine it, but that kind of felt good. Let me see. Yeah, that felt good. I'll see what I do with that. Now, I'm going to take my countdown and get started in today's podcast recording. How you doing, Kevin? Hey, Kathy. I saw you snuck in as well. And Kevin's in the house as well. All right. I'm going to get to recording the podcast. Like I mentioned before, any questions you guys might have, put a Q colon, and I'll get back to you on the back end of the soliloquy. All right. Let me turn on this fan. 5, 4. What's up and welcome back, Camera Junkies. Today we're going to be talking about beta programs, but we're going to be steering a little bit off of the camera subjects themselves, and we're going to be talking about solo production in today's broadcast. So today I want to talk to you about other pieces of gear that I utilize for my production of both my live stream podcasts, and one of them is the RØDECaster Pro 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Rode and their products, they're made in Australia. Well, they're a company from Australia that creates a variety of different microphones, audio equipment like headphones, and one of their more popular devices, which was the RØDECaster Pro. Now, the popularity of the first device was off the charts to the point that so many, including myself, anticipated the arrival of version 2, the RØDECaster Pro 2. And ever since I got it around halfway in this year, it has been one of the vital pieces of my solo production and everything that I do. It has so much functionality and it gives you so much control over all of the things that you can do with your audio that I can't find myself not recommending this to just about everyone. And this new version actually has allowed me to step into the beta program with this device. So you might be asking, what is a beta program? Well, there's a difference between software and hardware, and that difference has to do with the software that runs the hardware, which then gets labeled firmware because it is a type of software that really doesn't change, and it is part of the fixed unit or item that you're talking about. Software is more based like an installation to your computer's operating system, because even though you have general components for that operating system, there's most likely a different option of operating system that you could apply to the computer or the components that you have. When it comes to firmware, that has to do more with a specific type of software that's more embedded to a chip in the hardware to make it function correctly. So the RØDECaster Pro 2, being a piece of hardware, accepts firmware updates that basically change the structure and the functionality of the device itself, giving you a lot more capability with the product that you've already purchased or the product that you already have in hand. The latest version of the firmware is soon to come out because we just received the beta version of the new 1.0.8. And this new version on the beta side is basically trial software or firmware in this case. And because I am in the beta program, I have signed off being able to use a not complete firmware on my hardware, giving me functionalities that are soon to come. And I am, as a beta program participant, I am actually giving feedback to Rode, the company, as far as any errors or hiccups that I might be encountering. But as of this latest update, it has really added a lot of features to this device. The granular control over what you're able to hear through the outputs is just taking this thing to the next level. And there's so much that you can do with this device that I really stay in awe. It is the heart of all of my connections, and to give you just a little bit of a glimpse to what I mean, I have 3 computers connected to it. I have 6 audio sources connected to it. And it is able to navigate all of these things, or, communicate to all of these things simultaneously without a hitch. It allows me to bring in guests and have conversations through my Zoom meetings, through my Discord, without having the dreaded echo, or as better known, slapback type of sound effects that you might be hearing in the background. Things to completely bring my entire production setup and unify it all. And when I say my production setup, meaning all of my productions, whether it's my pre-recorded content, whether it's my live streams, the podcast that you're listening to now, and even remote podcasts that I do remote producing for, having guests log into my computer and me being able to record everything individually so that I can edit the podcast after the fact. All of this is being controlled with added functionality of sound pads that give me sound effects. I have voice changing controls added to on a touch of a button. And I'm getting text messages in the middle of the podcast. All right, let's turn that off. And this device can do it absolutely all, including be a standalone system, meaning that it can do all of your podcast recording needs without needing to be connected to a computer. It has accessibility for SD cards and the ability to record directly onto the unit, giving you the same functionality that I had mentioned before, individualizing all of the tracks and giving you all of the power in post-production. Now, I have already been completely in awe with this device, and this new firmware just takes it to another level. There were certain things that I kind of thought could have been better with the... let me re-say that. There are certain things in this device that I thought could be better, and that feedback, I guess not just from myself, but from others, was taken into account when Rode put out this firmware update. One of the things that I really disliked was when I was listening to myself through Bluetooth speakers, I couldn't mute my own microphone, meaning all the sounds that were coming from the device were being transmitted through the headphones via the Wi-Fi. And what that does is that it actually creates like this weird latency in the microphone, and it tends to throw me off because I am listening to the last words that I just spoke about half a second behind. And if you've ever done this yourself, that's something that could really kind of like throw off your equilibrium instantaneously. So that's one of the things that did not allow me to use Bluetooth headsets with this, and now that has been changed because they have added granular control over everything. So now every input and every output, you have the choice, or you have the ability to choose what is going to actually be broadcast both to the audience and to yourself, giving you even that much more fine control over everything that you do on this system. And just that by itself has just got me so excited, because if the past is anything to recollect on, Rode as a company has brought out various, and I mean numerous, updates for their original RØDECaster Pro. And to my understanding, they're still bringing updates for the firmware to the original RØDECaster Pro, trying to get, like the last drops of power out of that unit. And right now I am just ecstatic, because being able to send that feedback directly to Rode about potential issues or things that you would want this system to actually have really do benefit not only you as a creator, but the entire creator universe, because there's people who are going to purchase the device looking for it to fix one issue, and it's going to take care of so much more. And that's just the beginning aspect of what can be done, because one of the main software programs that I use with my computer is Ecamm. And even though I use it every week for all of my productions, and I've mentioned it on the live stream and podcast, Ecamm is also another company that is constantly putting out new updates. And the program that was version 3.9 is nothing, is like, it fails in comparison to what's actually coming out in the new version 4.0. And the reason why I know this is because, once again, I am also part of the Ecamm beta program, and I have access to the updates and helping them build this program to make it better, because it's a program that really benefits me in so many ways. And bringing it back to my own productions, recorded, live, podcast, and remote producing for video and audio, it's absolutely second to none in my book. And this new version 4.0 that is soon to come out, I'm super excited for the masses to get their hands on it, because being in the beta program, I already have the ability to use it. The main, my favorite new feature has to be the isolated video. The ISO video for Ecamm Live is giving you the ability to record your guests and multiple cameras in your setup in individual feeds, so that if you're in the middle of a broadcast and you're switching scenes, or if you're in the middle of a broadcast and somebody's signal goes out and you lose their connection for whatever may be, they're no longer there. And instead of having a black screen or a black space in that spot, or not having audio, you have the ability to overlap different videos and change it from the main feed that you had on your live stream to one of the singular feeds that continue to work in that short moment while either your guest drops out or a camera is giving you issues. And now, as a content creator, it also gives you multiple angles in your own setup while you do just local recordings to your computer, because Ecamm gives you the ability to do everything, including record your movie files directly to your computer, bypassing the need for SD cards or having to transfer files from an SD card to your video editing program. As soon as I'm done recording with Ecamm, they're in a folder waiting for me, so that I can do whatever I want with them. And that's one of the many reasons why I absolutely love Ecamm. And I also was very fortunate to have met the geniuses who created the program, both Ken and Glenn. And the attention to detail and the way that they fostered their community to actually let them know what they want to see out of the program, and the speed and tenacity that they have to actually produce that within their program is what I think makes Ecamm my favorite. There's a lot of people who have different case scenarios, but if you're anything like me, I would definitely have to recommend a program that I use 7 days a week. And that's why I've mentioned it here plenty of times. And now what's on the horizon, the program that I'm playing with on the beta side, is so much more powerful now. It's not only powerful, but so much more convenient for the things that you want to do. Another feature is that it has it gives you a layout of all of your cameras in a separate window. So that, let's say you do have multiple camera sources and one of your cameras drops out, you can see which one it is before you ruin your production, so to speak, before you go to camera 2. And you can see that camera 2 is giving you an issue before you try to get any data from it, so you would avoid going to it, and it gives you a preemptive look at what you should expect, so that you can actually do preventative maintenance or just completely disregard it. But all of those things are available right now through the beta program. You're able to bring up to 10 guests. Nine or 10 guests. I think 9, you're the 10th, 10 including yourself. And you're able to bring 10 guests if your computer can handle it and your internet can handle it. So both, if your internet and computer can handle it, you can bring up to 10 guests with Ecamm Live Beta right now, which is just ridiculous. Now, on another note, I would never recommend for you to have a conversation online with 10 people, because nobody will be able to get a word across. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it is possible with this program, and I can share this information to you because I'm kind of in the know, right? In the biz with the beta program. And that is just 2 of the many examples of beta programs giving you like a look behind the curtain, right? Giving you a sneak peek, so to speak, of what is possible with the programs, but also gives you the opportunity, you as a creator, the opportunity to actually mold your favorite tools to your liking. Someone that I'm going to mention here, part of the Ecamm fam, which is Anahil and Fuldrens Henry. They actually do building blocks every Monday night on the Ecamm Live channel. And I can't tell you how many features in 4.0 were a direct result of Anahil asking for something so that she can do something. And the reason why I bring that up is because that is, like, once again, just giving you an idea of the dedication that Ken and Glenn have towards this program, which is why I have no issues recommending it to anyone, and actually telling you, like, this is probably going to be your saving grace. So if you've been thinking about starting content creation, if you're thinking about starting remote production services or starting a business in that aspect, I have to once again highly recommend this, because with the power of Ecamm, I've been able to do all of the things that I just mentioned, meaning I am now a full-time editor, content creator, podcast producer, YouTuber, however you want to label it. There's a lot of skills that I've been able to pick up and utilize that now are what keep me in this creative space. And I am working with a lot of amazing creatives, and I am super excited for everything that the future holds. I've been able to establish a whole new business with the tools and the skills that I've been able to pick up within the last couple of years. And I'm just like a living testament of what is possible. And this is just the beginning, and I'm just scratching the surface. And if you're listening to me right now through the live stream or the podcast, you are witnessing, what is possible with with the tools that I just mentioned, with what I am using currently. The amount of technology that we have today at our disposal, at our fingertips, is so mind-boggling. And last week's podcast, or the last episode of the podcast, I mentioned is AI killing creativity, artificial intelligence. And the reason why I even spoke about that is because that week there was just a flood of AI programs or capabilities that just flooded the market. There's a new chat artificial intelligence that allows you to have conversations, and you can ask it to write a poem for you or about you, and it will pump it out in mere seconds. And that's what I have to kind of like bring it full circle, because last week I mentioned that I'm not scared of this actually killing creativity. I see it as just a tool that will allow you to enhance it. So in the same light is how I see everything. Like in that same light is how I see all of these beta programs, right? Like whether it's an artificial intelligence or something created by, actual people like the Rode company and Ecamm. When you understand it, or when you're within these beta programs, that you have the ability to put like your own input into it, it's kind of like having that conversation with the chat AI. You're able to ask for something and it's going to give it to you, in a heartbeat, on a drop of a dime, and it's going to be at your disposal, at your fingertips. So if you haven't done so already, and if you haven't done so already and you're starting your creative journey, I would definitely tell you to also look into your favorite products beta programming to see if you can help yourself and so many other creators by putting in your 2 cents to make a good product even better. So that's my thoughts on beta programs for this week. I hope you enjoyed this bit of information. What else can I add there to the end? Yep. What is it? What is it that Doc is always saying? Because Doc Rock is always saying this stuff. Yeah. Look for the Camera Junkie podcast wherever you can find podcasts. And if you can, please leave a review. Please leave a review on Apple Podcast. It's highly appreciated. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. I'm still working on my outros and stuff like that. I just kind of don't have it, and all of my Puerto Ricanness seeps out in the last second. But I'll see what I can do with the edit, and we'll figure it out. I am like hella hella way behind on my own schedule on what I wanted to have done, because I haven't uploaded anything yet, including that I recorded the intro for it just at the beginning of the live stream. So all right, with that being said, I'm gonna go back to the chat to see if there are any questions. Oh, I need to put in the C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W. Okay, so let me do that right now before I get back to the chat. See, I knew there was something that was missing as part of the podcast. I was like, I haven't even finished it because I haven't done C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W. All right. Okay, and to finish things off, as always, we will go to one of my favorite sections of the podcast, C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W, which is channels that I think you should go and watch. And this week is someone that you might have heard of, but I kind of found myself a bit shocked that he wasn't on the list already. That is none other than Sir Peter Lindgren. Now, I bring this up because he actually is an amazing content creator. I speak about him all the time on my live streams and on the channels. But as I was looking at my list today, I realized that he was not yet officially on the list, and I was going to put a change to that. So this is Peter Lindgren. He's a Sony content creator. He's a photographer, videographer, someone who is very good friends with Tom Buck as well. They have a podcast together, but he is a Swedish content creator. Like I said, videographer, photographer, content creator, and the dude is just really dope on so many levels. There's so much that I can say about this man. He has another channel, which is his vlog channel, and that one is something that I would also recommend. I was gonna mention it just because it's the same person, but kind of part of this. And if you've been following him on the vlog side, then you would know what I'm talking about with one of his latest videos, which said that it happened, which is just kind of just want to congratulate him as well, because everything that I mentioned in the podcast about the possibilities of these programs, these items, and what you can do with them in real time, and me being an example of what can be done, is a lot of inspiration, I have to say, has been brought by this man himself. He's another prime example of what is possible on the YouTube platform. And this video that I'm highlighting here, the one that says it happened, where he uploaded 4 days ago, is him just talking about the journey that he has taken to where he is now able, and he has just put, like, you know, the money down for his first house. And he's been trying to buy a home for like the past 3 years, and like really trying. And if, for those who don't know, the market is going crazy right now. So with all that being said, for him to still have the ability to pursue his dreams and succeed to the point that not only is he a full-time content creator, but he is able to buy the house that he was looking for, and it's a new construction or a pre-construction. So there is a little bit of time to wait while it gets built, but I'm really excited for him and this new journey in his life. And he was thanking all of us, right? All of us who watch his videos, because we're a big part of his journey and what allowed him to get to this point. So besides that, anything that you want to learn about, you know, like gimbal work, videography, just photography, most likely you'll be able to find it on his channel. So if you have not heard or are not subscribed to Peter Lindgren, and his channel is Peter Lindgren 1, I would definitely tell you to go check him out, because he is this week's C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W channels that I think you should go and watch. And if you haven't, highly recommend. All right. And with that being said, I thank you as always for listening in to the Camera Junkie podcast. If you haven't done so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this podcast. It is highly appreciated. If you have any questions, you might want to catch the live recording of the podcast every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And with that being said, thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you and I will talk to you next time. See, that one sounded a lot better as an outro, and now I feel a lot better with the recording. Let's see what we can do here. All right. Oh, Kevin said hi, but he said he couldn't stay. He needed to stop by and say hello. See if everyone remembered to hit the like button. That's right. If you haven't done so already and you're still hanging out here with me, please make sure to hit that like button. It is highly, highly appreciated. Said that had a nice flow. Okay, so that was Robert mentioning. I guess we're talking about my my little intro because it did feel good. So. Door kicked in. How you doing, D? Okay, so we have our first question here. It says, how do you set up multicam with Stream Deck pedal if you can show me? Actually, I can, even though I don't have the Stream Deck pedal. But one thing I do have today is my overhead camera. So let's see. Let's go to that. Boom. Okay. So now, if you don't have your Stream Deck pedal, you can use any of the numbers right here on top, and they're basically going to correspond, or you can set them as hotkeys to the scenes that you have, scene 1 or camera 1, so on and so forth. You can use that to go right through, or basically hit, I believe it's control sideways, right? Yep, that's Aiden hanging out. Oh, that's my outro. And let me go back to the overhead. And that's just basically hitting control and your arrow keys. That's basically your foot pedals. So there's various ways that you can set up the foot pedals, right? You can set them up that the same way that you can switch from scene to scene, left to right, so to speak, and go up and down on your scenes within Ecamm. You can have pedal, or the left side of the pedal, be like motion backwards, and then you can have the right pedal go to the next scene, so that you can have that granular control just as if you were hitting number 1, number 2, number 3 on the keypad, so on and so forth. But what you can do is that you can do what I'm showing you right now, which is you could actually have your scene selected, pre-selected. And I just have one button which I hit on my Stream Deck, and through the power of Ecamm, I'm able to have the scenes move automatically. And they're just going to continue to rotate as long as I want them to, because that's the way that I've set them up, so that it kind of breaks up the monotony, so to speak, of a single shot, and gives you a little bit more of a behind the scenes look of what's actually capable with the right equipment and the right software, because this is because of Ecamm. And what I mentioned before, the isolated video, means that with Ecamm beta, once I'm done with this live stream, I'm going to have a complete file of everything that was shown. So all of these scene switches that you're seeing right now, everything like that, is going to be recorded with the music that you're listening to right now, with my text, all baked into one file as a final result. But the thing is, for me to use this broadcast as a podcast moving forward, I'm most likely not going to want to have the Christmas music that's playing in the background to be a main staple of the podcast, because of the simple fact that on top of it being music, which I'm not going to use for the podcast, it's Christmas music, which will kind of date it or put it into a particular season, instead of creating content that can be listened to at any time year round. So what Ecamm does is that it isolates the audio from the video and gives me a separate audio file so that that's not kind of, tainted with the other sounds, the music or anything like that. And now with the new beta, it's also going to do that for all of the shots. So right now you're seeing 3 cameras move in rotation. I also have a 4th, which is my son's camera, which I used to, keep an eye out on him. But all of these camera feeds are going to be recorded as their own individual files. So that if at the end of the day I want to recreate anything from my live stream production, I have the ability to remove all of the switching and just have like my talking head shot, which is what you're seeing now, as the main shot, and then not deviate from that. I will also be able to remove all of the music, any sound effects, anything like that, and just strip it down so that I can have something bare bones to repurpose in the future. And that's one of the many options. Like I said, I don't have the Stream Deck pedal, but I'm going to go back to my overhead cam. And it's just basically, this is my Stream Deck, not the pedal, but the deck itself. And you have these 2 little cursors. And these cursors are what allow me to, go through the scenes. And going from scene 1, when I click the next scene, it moves to my right shot. If I click the next scene, it goes to my overhead. And if I go backwards, it goes, right back in that order. But with Ecamm, like I mentioned, you have the power to do your own scenes that you can preset, or you can either use the Stream Deck like this or the pedal in the same way, where you can just have left, right, which will allow you to rotate through the scenes systematically. All right, Robert has the next question. It says, can you show the input schematic for 3 computers and 6 audio sources? Yeah, actually, let's see if I could go back to the overhead. Ooh. Well, the 6 audio sources, to clarify, is going to be 3 microphones, and 3 computers. So those are my 6 audio sources that I'm working with right now. So the main one, let me see if I can squeeze this in here. And Kevin left already. That's right. I wanted to show Kevin. I went back to my old keyboard because the wireless one, it didn't hold up. But let me see if I can squeeze this in here some more. Okay. Okay, I'm going to squeeze over to here. This is about the best that I can do. I'm showing you the back end. First cord here is the power cord that powers the entire RØDECaster Pro 2. And now we have USB 1 and USB 2. USB 1 is connected to my Apple Mac Studio, which is my main computer that's running all of this, and it has all of the cameras connected to it. So this USB cable being connected to the computer is going to give me the audio from the computer as a source, but also be the same thing for me to produce or send all of the information out to the computer, everything that I'm doing here. The same can be said with USB 2, but that one is connected to my Mac Mini, and it also does the same thing, is able to receive all of the information from the RØDECaster Pro 2, but then also the music that you're listening to right now, which I'm going to fade right here, as you can see on this little cursor says Mini, because that's my Mac Mini. And as I bring it up, and bring it back down, you saw the levels rising right here. And as the levels rise, that is the sound that's coming from the computer. And let me go to that shot over here. And that's this Mac Mini that and that's the actual music that's playing currently. So now I'm going to go back to the overhead. gives me a fader control for the audio, because that's the two audio sources. So right now, if I were to play any music in the same manner from a web browser or play any video from YouTube, all the audio will be coming in through this line here that I have written Discord, because that's where I connect to my Discord. So when I want to hear anything from the computer, it will be this fader. So that's 2. And then we have our standard audio, which is microphone 1, which is actually not what we're listening to. 1 is actually my condenser microphone, which is in the back. This is my dynamic microphone in port number 2, which is the SM7B. And this microphone, the third one here, is actually my overhead microphone. And if I can get to it, which is this one sitting right here, which is basically really my tertiary backup microphone. But I can I should still be able to come across that way. And now we're listening to this microphone. I really don't know what it sounds like, but I think the noise gate is a lot more prevalent because it's a condenser microphone. So it's picking up a lot of the background noise, like the air conditioning that's playing, and also the distance. There's a thing called proximity effect, and it being a condenser and also being further away is just kind of bad on both ends. It doesn't sound the worst, but that's why it's there as a backup. And now we're back to the SM7B. Put that there. And that is a demonstration of the 6 audio sources. These 2 are the auxiliary that's going to my actual speakers, and these 2 are a connection that I've unified to actually go into one headphone jack so that I can have control over both left, or basically 1 and 2 audio feedback coming in through the same headphone jack. And that's how I have my RØDECaster Pro 2 set up. That's why I said this thing is so freaking dope. Oh, and then the last thing, sorry, because it was another computer. This one right here, a connection number 4. I've almost forgot about it. Connection number 4 is actually my Windows computer that sits underneath my desk. So right underneath here, let me see if I could better show. Right underneath here, so if we were to go directly under my desk, I have my Windows PC, and that's my... And I forgot the specs on that computer, but still, my Windows PC is basically my gaming PC, and that's where I have connected to line 4. And then you might ask, why would you have that just connected there? Well, I also have that computer connected to this monitor and also to this computer. So to give you a quick little insight, for people who are looking to game with their Windows PC on Twitch, and are looking to spend a lot of money on a new video card so that it can handle both the game and being able to be pumped out to Twitch or anything like that, you can do it a lot easier and a lot less expensive with the gear that you have now, and using maybe a Mac Mini with a couple of capture cards. And let me see if I could explain this as easy as possible, right? I'm gonna go to a shot over here. Because Ecamm, I'm able to connect a variety of different capture cards. So right here is a prime example. I'm giving you my front facing feed and also my side feed from 2 separate cameras on 2 separate video cards. But a lot of the times when you're trying to broadcast your gaming, right, on Twitch, all you're going to do is basically take my main feed that you're seeing here and put that off to the corner over here as a smaller picture, and the main display is going to be your gameplay. The problem that gamers have is that when they ask their computers to reroute the information so that they can stream it on Twitch, what ends up happening is that they start getting latency in their own gameplay or their own refresh rates on their monitors, and they're not getting the 120 frames or whatever that they are set up for. So let's say you're a 1080p gamer and you're trying to get that signal out from your computer but also broadcast it. What you can do with Ecamm is a lot easier, because the main capture card, number one capture card, is going to be set up to your main shot, which is going to be your camera going in on you, right? Your secondary capture card is going to be set to the output of your Windows computer. So a lot of these video cards, even the lesser expensive or older ones that can still game with your hardware adequately, but just do not have the power to broadcast that as well at the same time, you can bypass that by doing it all through Ecamm. So I will set up a standard Ecamm. I would connect 2 video capture cards, and instead of connecting 2 cameras, I will connect 1 camera, and then the other one, I will get a feed from the video card coming out of the Windows computer. So now you have both feeds of both your gameplay and yourself being broadcast through Twitch, but through your Mac computer and through Ecamm. And now that you have that, you have the ability to send the primary line, right, from your video card of your Windows PC to your high-res monitor, to your high-res, high-refresh monitor with nothing in between, allowing you to produce the image and quality of stream that you want to go out recording your gameplay, but without sacrificing any of your, frames per second or high refresh rate on your monitor, so that you could actually game your best while you're doing it. I'm going to see how I think that came out well, I think I was able to articulate that as small as possible, even though it's a bit complex, but it makes sense up here. Okay, the next question. Can you tell us how to output as routed through the RØDECaster? I think I did that, Robert. Let me know if you still have any other questions after my explanation, because there's a lot of things. And if it's how it's routed, you know what? Let me see something. I'm going to go back to the overhead cam. I'm going to try to squeeze this over here. Oh, no, that's really glary. Let's see. Okay, this is beta software, so I want you to understand that what you're looking at here is not official yet. But if you're in the beta program, I highly recommend you to actually update to this new version. But now when it comes to the outputs, you're going to go into the routing aspect. And now you have the ability to select everything. So for example, one of the biggest things for me was Bluetooth. So now that I have Bluetooth, as you can see, 1, 2, and 3, which are my main microphones, the ones that you're listening to right now, are no longer being output to my Bluetooth devices. Why? Because the Bluetooth, no matter what, inherently has latency, right? It has some type of latency, and that latency means that there's a delay from me speaking, it going through this magical cord into the audio device, being processed. Then once it's being processed, it's then going to be sent to the Bluetooth, which is going to process it into a Bluetooth signal that's then going to hit my AirPods, and then I'm going to hear my voice a half a second behind, which, if you've ever heard that aspect, right, that bit of like delay and slapback, it's really hard to speak naturally. It is so difficult because of the simple fact that it deters your own speech. It almost feels like you're slurring your own words because you've said something, yet your mind is still hearing it like delayed. like it's dragged on a half a second after you said it, and it's not something that we're accustomed to. And when it happens through the latency, it's really bad. So now, why do I say that? Is because I kind of want to use, AirPods instead of, in-ear microphones when it's just me, right? Like if I'm having a guest on, right, or having a conversation through Zoom, one of these, this is going in my ear all the time just because I want to have the least latency possible for the conversation. But 9 times out of 10 is just me here or me doing the live stream. And if it's just me speaking, I don't necessarily need to hear myself speak, right? I can hear myself here. But what this allows is that I can also hear anything else coming in. I can hear if accidentally, which hypothetically it was supposed to work, but if my voice went into voice changer.
And then I sound like this.
Right? If anything like that were to have happened, for those of you, shout out for those of you who know what I'm talking about, I should be able to hear it, but it's going to cause that like disturbance in my head. So I don't, and I shut it off. So what I'm listening to here is the same music that you guys are listening to. All of that helps me just kind of produce this show the way that I like it, because I'm enjoying the music just the same. And if I hear something that I feel like, oh, that song or that track is just like, it's not vibing, I have the ability to change it on the fly because I'm constantly monitoring. If I wasn't monitoring, like, most likely I'd be able to like just listen in with that latency because it's not myself speaking. But because I'm producing, I'm speaking, and I'm doing everything, and then I have to listen to myself half a second delay, it just messes with your mind. So I wouldn't recommend it. But now, prior to this update, whenever I connected my AirPods Pro and I needed to use the microphone, it was a no-go because of that latency. So I had to go into this just so that I can make sure that I can have control over what I could or couldn't hear, because the microphone or the headphones, I had that ability in the previous beta. This new beta now gives me the same control that I had on the, inline headphones, even to Bluetooth devices, which is what I just showed you, that I was able to turn off microphones 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm able to use the AirPods just like this. So technically speaking, what I can do to reference it, so now I basically just replaced it, and there's no difference to you, but I'm able to unwind this, completely disconnect it. So you know what? And now I just have one AirPod, and it's just giving me the music, so I can hear the Christmas music. And that's all because of the new beta, which is really, really dope. Because before, no matter what, anything that was connected via Bluetooth was getting all of the information, all of the sounds that this thing could produce. And now I'm able to listen to it and utilize it wirelessly and actually have conversations. So for example, I can go into Discord now, and because I'm not hearing myself talk, I can have a conversation, listen to everything that person has to say, and it will never affect or slur my own speech. I'm going to leave this on for the rest, even though we're already at 11. So let's see if we do have any other questions. No. Just a cue. It was asking me if I wanted to quit. I'm like, no, I'm not quitting. There's no crying in baseball. Okay, so it says Ecamm automate switching video sources on a timed basis while you do the podcast recording live. Yes. And that's actually what I showed you. Like when I do my podcast, I kind of don't. But I'm gonna go right back to it, Robert, to go show you. I'm gonna go back to the overhead camera, right? And let's see, this is my stream deck. Here's a better illustration. Let me do this. Gonna close that. And then where is it? Let me see something. I forgot where that was. There we go. Okay, so let me just make sure. Let me see. Okay, so now we're in live demo mode. Perfect. That's what I wanted to show you so that you can see. Right here in Ecamm, you should be seeing everything that I see. You should be seeing the comments here and the questions. And as I go down here, I can show you all of my scenes, the intro, main, B camera, C camera, Chrome, which is where I do the C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W. And right over here, I have a folder. That folder, I have a variety of different scenes. As soon as I open it up, I'm going to go down there and you're going to see main 13, 13.2, so on and so forth. And all of these scenes are already preset with timers. So main 13 is main 13, meaning both of these are going to keep me in the main shot for 26 seconds. Because 13 seconds is how long each one waits before it switches over. So main 13 and 13 times 2, meaning that it will go from here after 13 seconds, it will skip and it will stay there, acquiring 26 seconds before it switches to camera B for 13 seconds. And then it will go to camera B for camera C for 13 seconds, back to B, right? And then I have my setups with the dual cameras, and these are all set up on scenes to be timed at 13 seconds. And then after 13 seconds, they're designated to just move to the next scene. But because they are in this folder right here towards the bottom, right? And they're all in there, what I hit was play on the folder. And as soon as I hit play on the folder, it automatically starts synchronizing and using all those scenes. Hopefully you should still be able to see it through the live demo mode. As you can see, it's got like its own little timer right there. And now after this 13 seconds, 26 seconds in total, it moves over to the second. And this could be done at any time, so that whether you're doing a live stream, podcast, anything like that, as soon as I hit that button on my stream deck, it activates that folder and starts going into the sequence of just doing all of these scenes in sequence. And if at any time I want to switch it, I also, like I'm going to do right now, have preset scenes for them individually already on my stream deck. So this is Aiden's camera. This is my overhead camera. This is my C cam, B cam, and A cam. So that whenever I'm here and I hit this little button with a timer right down here that goes into the scene switching, if I ever want to cancel it at all, I can hit any of these scenes and bring it right back to where I want it. So if I want to check Aiden, I'll click on the Aiden cam. If I want to go to the C cam, I'll click the C cam, B, so on and so forth, which is the same way that works with, you know, like the arrows, whether you want to move forward or back. The way that you have them set up in your scene is the way that I have it set up. And, you know, that you can automate the timed ones just by setting up each scene and keeping them within the folder, because as soon as it reaches the last one, it's not going to go to my main shot. It's going to stay within the folder and go right back to the main one and stay in rotation in perpetuity until I decide to either tell it to stop or move it to a different scene. Tony says, why are my comments not showing up? They're showing up. Right now, only questions are showing up. So if you're seeing live demo mode, which I'm about to take off, right, is that right here, I only put the cues. And this is a good illustration for everyone. You know, I asked to put a Q colon in front of any questions so that I can find them. Right now, it is culled all of my messages of the entire live stream to only the ones that have been put Q colon. So that's why we see that. And that answers your question, Tony. Why my comments are not showing up. As soon as I kill the Q, I'm able to see all the comments from the stream. See, like this one saying Ecamm with a thumbs up and outstanding. All right, so now I'm gonna leave live demo mode. All right, and go back to the queue. And Kevin had this question, says, what kind of stand do you have for your RCP on? And I'm gonna go back to my overhead cam. This was is a laptop stand. Let me drop my AirPods. So this is, let me do the main shot as well. Boop, this is skills. So one of these like just traditional laptop holders is actually the thing that I ended up using for my setup. I wanted, and I actually bought, not only wanted, but I actually bought a VESA arm, right? So that I can put it underneath. But I bought it particular for like a television. I thought it would be fine because it had the, you know, like little hydraulic arms, which is the same one that I use for my setup here. Actually, let me go see. So one of these VESA arms that you could just move around everywhere. And it just wouldn't sit. As soon as I set it up and put it here, it actually held the RØDECaster Pro much higher. Held it like this. And I could never get it at the right angle. So for that reason, this is what ended up, like, it was something that I already had. And that's what I have holding it up, which is basically just what I need, because I don't have that much space. But what I need is just to basically have the real estate underneath so that whenever I'm doing other things, I can take like my Stream Deck and throw it underneath there. And like you saw just now, had my AirPods right there as well. All right. And so Ecamm can auto switch video sources. How do I set that up, switching from ATEM Mini to multiple capture cards? Well, basically the same thing that I had just shown, of like the folder. You just basically create the scenes of what shots you want within that folder. So just to go into like the live demo one more time, right? You're seeing what I see. I can take this shot right here and, you know, unlock it, which is my main shot. And because I unlock it, I can go here to the overlays and I can click on this thing right here and add another camera. Within the camera, I have a variety of different options, right? So I can go squircle, right? Add a border. The colors are fine on the border, that's fine, right? Corner radius, meaning how much of a squircle, how much of a square do you want to set it, right? More circleized there, that's pretty good. And then I could change the camera source. So I can go to my secondary shot. And that's pretty much it. I can enlarge this, bring it down, and that's just one scene. And now, once I'm done with the way that I want it to look, go right back to that scene and you lock it. And now you basically can't change any of these parameters. I can't move the screen around or anything like that. And that's set so that I actually don't mess up in the middle of the live stream. But once you're done there, let me do this. Let me unlock it. And I'm going to delete that second camera. Oh, I deleted the wrong one. Tip for y'all, Control Z on Mac works for everything. Just brought my camera right back. All right. Let's lock the one that I need. Let's delete that one. Boop. And we're going to relock the scene. And that's it. Now, right here in this same overlays area is where you will see this little timer, and it says add new countdown, right? You have the countdown. You can set it to whatever time that you want. So like me, I had set it to 10 seconds, right? And now I'm going to go 0, 0, hit enter. So now that's just set at 10 seconds. Okay, hold on. We have it set to 10 seconds. It says auto start. And then right here, we have a little checkbox that says go to the next scene when finished. And now we hit save. You can take that, you can enlarge it so that you can show people. What I usually do is that I hide it behind another graphic, right? Or behind the window itself. And that was it. You saw it in action. As soon as it was done with the timer on the main shot, it will switch over to the next scene. There you go. And that's it. Little things like that give you the ability, once you have it all set up within the folder, they will continue to rotate within the folder. That's it. Oh, and I did this so that it shows on all scenes. But no, just FYI, you would change that to in your current scene, right? So show in current scene. Oh, that's because it's locked. Let's go back to the main. Right, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna move it and we're gonna show in current scene. So now it's only part of the current scene. So when we lock this back up and we hit play on it, now what it's going to do is that it's going to switch over and it's going to stay on this scene. And you see it doesn't bring over to the next one. So that way it gives you the individualization to be able to build out everything that you want, including audio on each individual scene. And if I were to go back to the main, it will go right back to 8 seconds and it will automatically switch me to the second shot after the 9 seconds is up every single time. And now we go back to it and we remove it. We remove it completely. We go back here. We go to the countdown. We highlight it and we delete it. Oh, the scene is locked. We got to unlock the scene so that we can delete it. Relock the scene. Like I tell everyone lock your scenes. And that's what will keep you from this thing going, off the rails 90% of the time. If you were to just lock your scenes, you'll be good to go. But guys, let me go check on the comments again. This has been amazing. We're like 20 minutes over the hour. Let's see where we're at here. Okay. Melanie says, I can never imagine 10 guests. Exactly. Like we did it one time and it was just like for fun, like just for, S&Gs. And I'll tell you the truth, man, that thing was a hot mess. And that was way before, and just to explain, like we did something like that and that was way before the beta. It wasn't even 10 people on one stream because it wasn't possible. So the instance that I'm referring to right now was actually when interview mode for Ecamm was first ever presented. So when we first had the power to bring people onto our guests directly, excuse me. Okay. So the first time that we had power of interview mode, you had the ability to bring up 3 guests, which is the way that it's set up right now. So what happened was someone started a live stream and that person invited 3 guests. Those 3 guests were using Ecamm. And then they brought in 3 guests, right, from their stream and then started broadcasting to the original stream. And then that trickled out like another like inception layer out after that, because some of the people that were on the stream that was logged into another stream then started picking up people themselves. So it was like 12 people on screen off of 4 screens that had multiple people on them. Let's see. Yeah, that was like 12 people on the screen at once. and it was a hot mess. It was a lot of fun because we were just doing it to see if it was possible, just to see, like, we weren't really expecting quality. We were just trying to see, like, how far can we push this envelope, and it was a lot of fun. Says, I find out my cam links are giving me problems with my screens freezing up. At least that's what I'm finding out so far from multiple camera setup. One thing I can tell you, I've had certain issues with cam links freezing up, and it has nothing to do pretty much with my setup. It's literally just whenever they feel like it, out of the random, that they give me a little glitch and I have to unplug them, like give them a second and then replug them in. But they're kind of always on as well, even though I'm not using them, because of the simple fact that my computer's always on. So they're always connected and registered, kind of ready to go. But the only issue that I do have with cam links, and it's basically everyone who uses them will have this in one way or another, is that the cam links inside they all use kind of the same serial number, right, to register them to the computer as a cam link. Almost kind of like preset to that they will only expect you to connect one to your computer. And with that being said, is that the computer kind of can't tell which one's which every time it starts up. So the only issue that I've had with my cam links is, like, just earlier today when I turned on, my Ecamm, my main camera is actually, or the scene that I have set on my main camera is set to the incorrect camera. And I can give you a great example. So let's see. Okay, so once again, we're in live demo. Okay, we're in live demo. That's such a cool song. I like that one. Okay, this is my main shot. I'm going to go right here, and this little pencil, you can click on it, and you can select which camera you want to use for the scene. So even though this is my main shot, which is designed for this, when I opened up Ecamm today, this is what I was getting. And every scene on this entire list here on my left, every single one, every shot that was supposed to be my main shot was giving me my right shot, and every shot that was supposed to be my right shot was giving me my main shot. So I had to go through each scene and then literally change this cam link to the first cam link so that it knows which one, and then skip to the next one, and then kind of address each one for each scene. And that's basically like the gist of my, like, problems with the cam links. That's basically the only issues that I really have, which every once in a while I have to go through the scenes and just readjust which camera is which. But as far as it like freezing up and stuff like that, no, it hasn't been an issue that's been consistent. It's just every once in a while, every once in a blue, you might need to unplug the cam link and just replug it back in. This is how you just said that. That's so many. Yeah, don't ever put 10 people, like reiteration, don't ever put 10 people on the stream. It's hard enough just trying not to step over one person when you're having a conversation and you're just trying to agree with them. You're like, yeah. And they're like, what'd you say? You're like, I said, yes. I said, yes, I agree with you. So imagine that with 10 people. Unless it's like a rehearsed play, don't do it. All right. Says, I know you can time it with the Stream Deck. You can, but I find it to be a lot more difficult when it comes to the controls of having like your Stream Deck do it. And the other thing is that, like, I like the fact that the folder, you can readjust it. So for example, if I were to have any of those issues with the cam links and they're not in the correct file, the Stream Deck, the way that it sets it up, you can't kind of check ahead of time. It's just gonna click on the button whether it's correct or incorrect. In a nutshell, I prefer doing the folders within Ecamm for the scene switching. It's a lot easier for me because, for example, you can literally create one scene, which is what I did. Am I still on live demo? Probably, yeah. So look, on the live scene on the 13Go, right? What I basically did there is created my main scene, right? Set the timer for 13 seconds and then set it that it would automatically go to the next scene, right? What did I do? What was my next step? I duplicated that same exact scene. I duplicated it. So now it became the next scene that I wanted it to skip. And after 13 seconds of this main scene going for the second time, it skips, and I created another of the same exact one. So I had 3 main shots, but then the third one on the list, I renamed it to Camera B, and the only thing I did was go right to the pencil and change it from this one to that one. And then I saved that scene, duplicated that scene, which already had the timer, which already had to go to the next scene, so I didn't have to continue. And what I did was rename it to the camera that I had selected for it. Hopefully that makes sense, you know, like enough to come across correctly. So it was super easy. And once I felt that I had enough scenes built out after just like duplicating them and just, you know, changing the actual source of which camera was showing. And then I said, oh, you know what? I could throw another one with a camera with 2 cameras so that it could just like transition as it trickles along. And that is my folder of camera switching. Says try and write out a few different outros so you can pull them and read them versus trying to build it on the fly. I could, but I'm trying to work on all of those aspects as well. You know, like because I'm doing it as a video podcast, part of it, I also don't want a piece of paper to be like an ad read. Thank you for listening to my podcast. When I should be able, like, I shouldn't have a problem being able to wing it. Puerto Rican, I have problems just saying bye. Mr. Duncan is hooking it up as a moderator. Giving information here, saying yes, you can put them in the folders. Change scenes and camera angles, yes. My favorite text says, thanks for the info. Thank you for hanging out. That's Tony's message. Saying outstanding. Thank you. Saying Ecamm. We answered these questions. It says you covered it. So I definitely need to dive deeper into beta, bro. Beta is, and it looks a lot different as well. So, you know, just if you're going to do beta, check it out. It's a lot of fun. I have fun with it, and so much power. I said that's cool with the Bluetooth. It is, man, because like I can use it now. I can have music playing over here and I'm listening to it while I'm paying attention to my video edits on this computer, which is also going into the RCP that's also going to my Bluetooth. Is like, yes, finally. And I'm going to give you another thing. I believe I mentioned it here as well, that I was looking to buy, right? Listen to what I was going to do. I was going to buy the Rode video, what is it? The video go-tos, right? Yeah, the microphones. So the ones that come with the receiver and the 2 little like lavalier microphone boxes, right? So the Rode Video Micro 2, right? Or the Video Go-Tos. Man, there's so many freaking microphones. I digress. So the Rode Video Go-To microphone set, I was going to buy it to kind of reverse engineer it. So what was I going to do? What you have the ability to do, right, is you have the ability to speak into the microphone. It wirelessly transmits that signal to the receiver, and then the receiver, you can put a 3.5 to 3.5 headphone jack from the receiver to your camera, and now whatever you say on the microphone gets transmitted to the receiver and gets recorded in your camera. I was going to use it in reverse, and it was only so that I can use basically this this headset here as a wireless headset. So my plan was that I was going to set the microphone, have a 3.5 to 3.5 microphone jack, leave the RØDECaster Pro and go into the input of the lavalier microphone, the block, and have it transmit wirelessly the signal from the RØDECaster Pro to the receiver. And instead of it going to a camera, I was just going to plug in this 3.5 millimeter jack so that I can hear whatever the microphone was picking up, which was whatever was being produced out of my RØDECaster Pro 2. With this, I am now connected Bluetooth, and now I am wireless, so that for future live streams, if I needed to go handle something with Aiden, I'm not yanking my entire setup here because I'm still connected to it, or, you know, forgot to take it off before I went to handle an emergency with Aiden or something like that. So for that reason, this is like ideal, and I think you're probably going to be seeing me just wear it just like this from here on out. So my future live stream is probably just gonna have me just like that, chilling with the Bluetooth in one ear so that we can't hear it. And I'm cordless now. I'm wire free, so I'm excited. Hey, John Mayday saying hi all, joining a little late, helping my son set up for his first stream tomorrow. That is dope. Awesome. Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure to have you here. But if you're out getting, you know, done, that's super cool. And that's super cool that your son's going to have his first live stream tomorrow. That's dope. It says, I have an adjustable one, metal from Amazon. These, I was looking into it, right? I think we're talking about the computer stand for the RCP2. Might be something that I get in the future, because this one is a little bulky. And I like the fact that those newer ones, I could probably give it a little bit more of a tilt, right? A little bit more of adjustment, because this is literally just firm. Okay, he says makes sense. That's how I do picture in picture. Okay, cool. Because, you know, sometimes I have these conversations and it all works perfectly in my mind. Is just then making sure that I'm expressing that idea correctly. Okay, John has a question coming in the back end. It says, when displaying comments, can you resize the text window? Yes, absolutely. And let me show you. I will have to... Am I still on live demo? Yes, I am. Wow. Okay. Live demo, show you, we unlock the scene, because that's number one. It won't allow you to do anything if you do not unlock the scene. Open it up. Right, and right here you have that ability to resize, as you can see. And if you want the text to be smaller, you resize on the angle and then stretch out again. Come on, bring it out. All right, so now that I've resized it, right, and now we have smaller text on screen and much longer. If I want to keep it this way, I will now hit the lock button, and now I click on your comment and it's going to fit the screen the way that we had it. And then I hit on Sean's comment right after it, says thanks, and you can see it keeps that format because I've locked it in. That's why every time that I start, for whatever reason, it's been starting really small and I have to adjust it. The way that I have to adjust it is unlock the scene, set it to the size that I want, and then lock the scene, and it should keep it in that size for the remainder of the live stream or the broadcast, recording, whatever it is. All right, so let's get out of live demo mode as I finish up these. Yes, Paul, exactly. That's why I needed to make sure if I was on the live demo mode. So yes, so you want to be careful with showing Ecamm comments and reaction window in your stream. If bad stuff gets posted, even through the moderator, right? Because yeah, he said it perfectly. And to, you know, just elaborate on that, is that the moderators have the ability to remove any negative comments from the live stream directly on YouTube, meaning the recording and any future, broadcast or replays of that will not have any of that negative comments or connotation as part of it, right? But when I'm in live demo mode, everything that is broadcasting on my screen is being broadcasted out there. And the way Ecamm works is that it will automatically pull that comment so that I can read it and manipulate it and put it as part of my broadcast. And I will have it in my comments here, even if a moderator were to remove it. If a moderator would remove it from the broadcast on YouTube, it doesn't get removed from my comments here within Ecamm. What my job is to trust my moderator to know that they've taken care of it, right? They've taken care of it. My moderators are amazing, so I never sweat that aspect. But then whenever I see it, because I know that it exists, I just ignore it on my end here and just pass it by, because I'm not gonna let it phase me. The thing is, when you're in live demo mode, you're still seeing it. So even if the moderator removed it from the live stream chat, I'm displaying it because I have it on my computer. And the algorithm or the system in place for YouTube knows how to read. So if there's something explicit or negative that is being displayed within the comments and I put it as part of my broadcast intentionally by bringing that comment up on screen, or unintentionally by doing a live demo, right? YouTube doesn't care, and anything that's negative will then be, like the heavy hand is going to go on you. So if it's something that will demonetize or pull down the video or anything of that sort, just know that the person who wrote it is not the one who's going to get in trouble. You are. So once again, make sure that you don't put like just whatever comments. You don't want to give that power entitlement to someone who is probably doesn't have your best interest in mind. So I don't recommend to ever just leave any comments in live stream to just roll rampant on your live stream. It's your live stream, you control it. Just make sure that you're doing it right. And that's why another point for Ecamm of it being so awesome, because it gives you the ability to, to control your comments that way. Yep, and this is him reiterating. Channel's been taken down because of non-moderation of comments. Yep. And yes, Rode Wireless Go. I couldn't get that out. All the like Rode Video Micro. And I think it's just because they just came out with the Rode Video Micro 2, which is the new version of the one that I had for years. It starts small in the beta. It wasn't doing that before. Well, it is, like the beta is not perfect. So also, go into it with a grain of salt that if you do have some issues, like you're part of the bug fixing to say, hey, you know what? I had an issue with this section of the program. But that's what's really dope, because, Ken and Glenn, they're just going to ask you, send me your logs, tell me what happened, put in a ticket so that we can fix it. Because they're just really, really dope. They're really on top of it. So I had no idea I was really going to learn so much tonight. Thank you so much. Love the vibe of this tribe. Thank you, sir. You're part of it, man. Says, you'll be okay. My streams don't violate TOS when we get saucy. No, I know, but you know what? Getting saucy and talking one thing is completely different. Like, I've seen channels get like banned because of comments that they didn't have control over. So I don't know exactly how tough it is, and they're always, implementing the latest and greatest version of their, quality control, I guess. And through the YouTube Studio, I've clicked on that new thing that they're trying, experimental protection for, comments and channels and stuff like that. And I'll tell you the truth, if you shooting this out there, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Moderator, the Paul Duncan right here, please put it in chat, Paul. He's got a blocked words list okay, and availability to his services. Ever since I started using the block words list that he gave me and implemented that through the channel, like what he's created there, ever since I applied that to this, we've gotten significant amount. Like, I barely see any of like the sex spammers or anything like that, like the XYZ girls. And if it were to happen, I know my moderators here in chat, they got, they got my back. But the fact that I really don't see them, and that I'm here every Saturday, prime time Saturday night, 11 o'clock, and I don't see that in my chat, it really goes to show, how awesome this block words list is. So if you haven't done so already, or that you need this type of help, I highly recommend. I believe it's like $10 for this list. It should be more because it's absolutely worth it. But I digress. $10 is a drop in the bucket for the peace of mind that you can have for your channels without having to worry about, like explicit comments, words, or anything like that. Another, word of advice: once you get the list, don't read it. There's a lot of bad stuff on there, stuff you don't want to poison your mind with what's on that list. Just know that it's there for your own protection. And also, if you have any words or anything that you do not want to be put up on display at all on any of your live streams, I would highly recommend you do so. Another tip when it comes to moderation, put your address, right? Your physical address, your home address, and different things like that, like your phone numbers and stuff like that, in your block words list. So that if someone or anyone were to ever to get that information and want to kind of put you at risk by releasing it, they can't, because anything that's regarded or even resemblance of your information is going to automatically be blocked, and that bot, person, character, whatever you want to call them, will not have the ability to dox you, as we call it, on the interwebs. So and Paul saying it's mostly related to hate speech that got that channel taken down. You see, I wasn't sure, but it was literally just, don't give them the power. It says getting less freeze by going to USB-C, not even using the cam links, all Sony cameras. That's totally different. And you can get a really good feed right off of it. The only difference is that the cam links are going to give you either 1080 60 frames a second or 4K 30. So I use 4K 30 to get this high quality image. Now, if it doesn't bother you, like, because it's actually still very good. Right now, I'm able to connect my Sony ZV-1F and all of them. I'm not sure which cameras you have, Sean, right? But I believe the majority of them, to be able to send the information, power the camera up, and do everything that it needs, and basically not overheat as a camera or a webcam, that they're only producing 720p image, which is still good. Don't get me wrong. And whatever sensors that you're using, whether they're APS-C full frame or these smaller 1-inch sensors, are 100 million times better than any webcam that's built in, or even any webcam like the one that I use for Aiden. So going back to Aiden cam, this is not the best camera. As you can see, there's a lot of digital noise hovering around. So this camera, being a 720p camera, is still going to give me a really good image, but that is basically the only difference. Reliability is going to be much better than the cam links. They won't overheat because they're not trying to exceed the camera to produce a 1080 60 or a 4K image. They know that, like, okay, we're taking it in a school zone pace. 720p is still high definition. Because of the upgraded components and quality of the camera, it's going to be so much better image, even though technically your laptop's webcam is 720 and these cameras will be producing 720p. At the end of the day, that has to do with the amount of pixels that are on screen, not the quality, right? The quality of the pixels that are on screen, whether it's, has to do with the camera itself. And that's why these are still give really good images, even though they're only shooting at 720. Okay, so Paul put his links on there. Absolutely. Oh, you see, he says he also has the channel ID subscription. Yeah, that's super cool service. He's constantly moderating and recording down all of the channel names for the channels that go around spamming, so that before they could even get to you, if they're a physical channel that like literally going into the chat and trying to like squeeze out, negative content, they won't be able to because they're already blocked off, and it's a growing list. So the newer accounts that get built up, as soon as Paul finds them, they get added to this list. And if you're part of his setup, right, that you get the updated list. How is it? Weekly? Wow, weekly. I would have said monthly, but still, even monthly is great. And Paul is doing them weekly so that you can add these channels to keep hidden from your channel on a weekly basis. That's dope, Paul. It says it might be the cables, 2 A7S3 and an A7S4. Okay, you see the A7 IV. The A7 IV and the newer cameras, I would have to double check, so correct me if I'm wrong, but they might do 1080 even through the USB-C. But even if they don't, having a full frame sensor on all of those cameras, right, and having them connect directly even at 720p is going to give you such a dope image. It's going to look great, and it's basically, equal to, if not better, because of the sensor size than what you're looking at right now. So I'll tell you the truth, nobody will ever complain out of a 720p webcam image from a Sony A7S III or an A7 IV. So you're pretty much set up. And one of those good things about running it that way is not only do you not have to walk around with capture cards if you want to, adjust or move it, but you really don't run any risk of overheating any of those cameras. Oh, super cool. It says my live stream last night was 4K for the first time. Super, super cool. Oh, I'm excited. I'm probably going to have to watch the replay on it, man. Catch one of the new ones in 4K. But everyone, wow, I went close to 2 hours. But it's a holiday stream. Just hanging out, and you guys are what make it so freaking dope. That's why I can sit here and literally lose track of time. But with that being said, guys, we have done it. We've completed another live stream, episode 106. Yes, episode 106, week 106 consecutive of the Camera Junkie live stream. Done and over with. Thank you, as always, for taking the time and hanging out here with me. I always do appreciate it. And if you're not doing anything, next Saturday, I'm going to be repeating the process. Episode 107, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces here. And yeah, and that's it. Guys, take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you next week. Till next time.